The sky was burning. Over the green lands of Theraxis, fire poured from the heavens like a storm of death. Explosions shook the cities. The Drogon warships, sharp and cruel, hovered above, dropping waves of plasma bombs without a single pause. Families ran through broken streets. Mothers clutched their children. Consul, their long silver skin was smeared with blood and ash. Their violet eyes were wide with panic. General Karuin, once a proud leader of peace, now stood helpless. "They are not stopping," whispered one scientist. "We tried every channel. No one is coming." Karuin's voice shook. "The Galactic Council abandoned us. The Allies closed their doors. Even the traitors turned away." "Should we surrender?" another voice asked. "No," said Karuin firmly. "We do not surrender to monsters." From a far corner, an old engineer limped forward. In his hand was a small device glowing faintly blue. "What is that?" Karuin asked. "The last beacon," the engineer said. "Before the Council, before alliances. Will it work? No one knows. But maybe someone will hear us." The room fell silent. Outside, the walls trembled from another blast. Kahar Yuan nodded slowly. His hand trembled as he pressed the red crystal in the center. A quiet hum began. A blue light pulsed, and then it was gone. No explosion, no spark, just silence. The signal was sent, somewhere in the dark cold of the galaxy. It flew. The signal traveled through dead systems and black holes. It passed frozen moons and burnt planets. It screamed across ancient space lanes, silent to most. Machines ignored it. Someone did not ignore it. On a large space station orbiting a dark planet, Commander Rachel Stone stood on the command bridge of the UESS Valor, one of Earth's deep patrol carriers. Her face was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "Commander," the AI voice said, "we've received an unknown signal." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "Source: unknown star system. Language detected non-human, but decipherable." "It's a plea." A desperate one put it on screen. The bridge dimmed. Alien voices begging for mercy. "We are not warriors. Please, help us." Rachel stared for a long time. "Where is this happening?" "Star system TX9987. No human activity. Off-galactic trade routes. No known military powers in the area." "Why us?" she asked softly. The AI replied, "Because no one else is listening." She tapped her cum. "Alert all fleet captains. Prepare the Valor. Get me Earth High Command." Back on Theraxis, the end was near. The Drogons had landed troops. They marched through ruins, hunting survivors. Some Theraxians hid in caves, others under rubble. But the enemy found them all. One Drogon captain, tall and covered in dark armor, looked down at a crying Theraxian child. "No one will come for you," he growled. "Your world dies alone." But above the planet, far beyond the clouds, the stars shimmered. Then the stars moved. The Drogon ships picked up something on their sensors. "Unknown contacts approaching," reported a technician. "Many?" asked the commander. "Too many. Hundreds. Fast. Very fast." "What species?" "Unknown. Wait, human origin." The commander's eyes widened. "Earth." The sky of Theraxis lit up again, but this time not with fire. Sleek, silver warships fell from warp-like arrows. Earth fleet had arrived. Massive carriers, silent destroyers, and fighter wings poured into orbit. Their engines roared, but their weapons roared louder. The first human strike came without warning. A Drogon dreadnought exploded into fire. They didn't negotiate, they attacked. Commander Rachel Stone stood at the center of the Valor, watching the battle unfold. "Show them what happens when you hurt the weak," she ordered. "No mercy." On the ground, Drogon soldiers looked up in confusion. Then blue beams shot from the sky, turning their war machines into dust. Armored drop pods slammed into the ground, opening to reveal human marines in black armor. "Secure. All civilians," shouted a human officer. Soldiers from a world they had never known were now fighting for them. One Theraxian elder whispered, "The stars." They answered. In orbit, the Drogon fleet was losing fast. "Retreat," the Drogon commander screamed. "This is not a battle. It's a slaughter." Too late, Earth fleet closed the net. One by one, the enemy ships were crushed. Inside the Valor, Rachel stood over the enemy channel. Transmit this, she said. She leaned forward, her voice cold and clear. This is Commander Rachel Stone of Earth. You hurt innocent lives. You burned their homes, and you thought no one would care. But we heard them, and we came. She paused. If you come again, we will not stop at defense. We will come for your empire. She ended the transmission on their axis. Silence returned at last. No screams, only the soft wind blowing across the ruins. A group of Theraxians stood as Earth Marines handed out food, water, and medicine. One child hugged a human soldier's leg. The soldier, surprised, knelt and smiled. "We're here now," he said gently. "You're safe." General Karun stood before Rachel Stone. His voice shook. "You heard us when no one else did, but when we do, we don't come quietly." The Galaxy watched. News of the human attack on the Drogon fleet spread fast. Many empires were silent. Some were afraid, others angry. But one thing was clear: Earth had power, and when Earth answered, it brought fire. The room was silent. Commander Rachel Stone stood in the dim command center of the USS Valor, her eyes still fixed on the last frame of the Theraxian distress message. Fires raged in the background. Screams echoed through the visuals. It was not just a request, it was a final breath of a dying people. Beside her, the AI's calm voice spoke again. Message confirmed. Authentic. Language patterns matched non-aggressive species known as Theraxians. No military infrastructure. Civilian death count estimated over 4 million. Rachel took a deep breath. Why hasn't anyone answered this? Galactic Council dismissed the species as non-essential. No known alliances, no trade, no value. She clenched her jaw. No value to them. But they're still people. Her second-in-command, Captain Isaac Voss, stepped forward. The Council will call this interference. You know how they react to human involvement? Rachel looked at him. I don't care. Back on Earth, deep within the core of the Terran Defense Headquarters, high-ranking officials sat around a long, glowing table. The mood was tense. The room buzzed with encrypted feeds showing the ongoing Drogon invasion. Admiral Una Park leaned forward. Are we seriously considering this? General Malik, a veteran of the Mars Rebellion, replied, We didn't go silent for 50 years just to become cowards now. We're humans. When someone cries for help, we answer, But these aren't humans, said a diplomat from the Council Department. They're aliens, a race we've never interacted with. They're people, Malik snapped, and they're dying. Another officer tapped a few keys. Commander Rachel Stone is already mobilizing Valor. She's requesting full support. From Earthfleet, all eyes turned to the hologram in the center. Rachel's live message played again. I will not watch another world burn. If Earth says we stand for peace, we must prove it. Let the galaxy remember what happens when humanity listens. A long silence followed. Admiral Park stood. Send the fleet. Within 2 hours, Valor was joined by 4 more warships, the U. Revenant, Solaris, Titan's Wrath, and the medical carrier Sanctum. Massive hangars opened as drones, dropships, and fighters came online. On board, soldiers loaded weapons. Engineers prepped rail cannons. AI systems ran combat predictions at LIGHT SPEED. In the training bay, Private Lane Ramirez checked her pulse rifle. Her face was young, but her eyes were already tired. You think we're doing the right thing? Asked her squadmate, Saito. Lane. Didn't hesitate. Doesn't matter if they're aliens. Kids are kids. Innocents are innocents. If someone hurt us, I'd hope they'd come too. Saito nodded slowly. Yeah, same. Out in deep space, the fleet jumped to warp. The darkness stretched endlessly. Stars blurred as the ships tore through the void, faster than light. Inside Valor's war room, the AI briefed Rachel and her command team. Drogon military forces are ranked among the top 5 most aggressive in the galaxy. Brutal, effective, and unpredictable. Estimated ground casualties on Theraxis within 24 hours. Extinction level, Rachel crossed her arms. What's their weakness? The AI replied. They are arrogant, and they've never fought humans. Back on Theraxus, the situation worsened. The Drogon general Karoth stood among the ruins of the Theraxian capital. Smoke curled from broken buildings. Corpses lay in the streets. He turned to his officers. Is the resistance finished? Yes, General. Final holdouts are hiding in mountain caves. Nothing of value remains. Karoth grunted. Then torch the mountains, no survivors. Suddenly, a Drogon scout rushed in. Sir, long-range sensors detect incoming vessels. Multiple warp signatures. Karoth laughed. Let them come. Who would dare face the Drogons in battle? The officer hesitated. It's Earth fleet, sir. The general stopped laughing. Earth, he growled. Those ghosts still exist, yes, and they're bringing warships. Rachel stood at the front window of the Valar. The planet Therixis appeared on the screen, a glowing sphere, choked with fire and smoke. Orbiting it were dozens of Drogon ships, their formation loose, undisciplined. Confident fools, Rachel said quietly. She turned to her crew. You know the mission. We aren't here for medals. We aren't here for politics. We are here because no one else answered. She paused. And now Earth answers. The first wave was silent. 3 stealth cruisers moved ahead of the main fleet. They used the shadows of the nearby moon to cloak their approach. Once in range, they unleashed precision missile strikes on the nearest Drogon patrol vessels. Explosions burst across orbit. The Drogons scrambled. Sirens howled inside Karoth's command ship. Human ships have engaged the western flank. Roth roared, return fire. Show them the wrath of the Drogons. The Drogons fired, but it was too late. Earth fleet had already closed the gap. Dozens of human fighters swarmed across the battlefield like a storm of steel. Their movements were perfect. No wasted shots, no fear. The Drogon ships were bigger, but Earth's weapons were faster, sharper, and smarter. Inside the Solaris, Captain Dion York shouted, "Drop the hammer." 2 pulse cannons lit up, slicing through a Drogon battleship like it was paper. The enemy exploded into silent fire. Meanwhile, the Sanctum deployed emergency drones to the planet below, scanning for survivors. On the ground, in the shadow of the mountains, Theraxian survivors watched the sky turn blue. One child pointed. Look, flashes of light, the roar of engines, and then pods dropped from the sky, landing like thunder. Human soldiers burst from them, weapons ready, area secure, shouted Ramirez as she stepped out, scanning the area. Find survivors. Move, move. Theraxians stared in disbelief. A woman crawled forward, eyes full of tears. Are you real? She whispered. Ramirez nodded. We're real, and you're safe now. Karoth watched his fleet fall apart. Ship after ship vanished. From sensors, human tactics were brutal and efficient. No mercy, no retreat. They fight like us, he muttered, but worse, much worse. He turned to his officer, signaled the fleet, prepare to withdraw. But Sir Earth came with fire. Karoth said, eyes dark. We were not ready for fire. Rachel stood as the last Drogon ship vanished from radar. The battle was over. She turned to her crew. Begin planet-wide scan. Deploy relief teams. We're not done yet. She looked down at the burning world below. You asked for help, she whispered. We heard you. Now the whole galaxy will hear us. On Therixis, hope returned. Human medics moved through the ruins, treating the wounded. Food, water, and shelter followed. Children smiled again. Parents cried, but this time from relief, not fear. The Theraxians, once forgotten, were no longer alone, and across the stars, whispers spread. Earth was back, and this time they brought firepower. A deep silence fell across the Drogon War Council. General Karoth stared at the holomap floating above the table. It blinked red over and overreach light, marking a ship that no longer existed. His once mighty fleet had been reduced to scattered debris. How? He growled. How did humans destroy our forward line in minutes? His second officer, Rethvaliam, spoke quietly. We underestimated them. Earth's war tactics are ... precise, relentless. They never send warnings. Karoth slammed his fist on the table. They are just one planet, one species. They are more than that now. General Rethvaliam replied. They are legends that became real. Karoth's yellow eyes narrowed. Legends can still be broken. Above Theraxis, the stars shimmered and Earth fleet moved like a silent beast. The Valor, Titan's Wrath, and Solaris formed a V-shaped formation. Smaller cruisers weaved through the edges like hounds circling prey. The Drogon fleet was regrouping, but it was too late for recovery. Commander Rachel Stone stood tall on the bridge of the Valor, arms crossed behind her back. "Enemy formation is breaking," the AI reported. "Good," she said. "Send in the Viper Wing. Target their command ship." Confirmed. Below her, fighter pilots received their orders. In Launch Bay 3, pilot Alina Hart adjusted her helmet. Her fighter was sleek, fast, and deadly, a machine built for only one thing: war. "You ready for this?" asked her co-pilot, Ridge. Alina smirked. "Let's remind them why they feared us." The bay doors opened, the stars stretched wide, and in seconds, Alina's fighter shot into space. Leading the charge, the Viper Wing flew in tight formation, dodging plasma fire, twisting between Drogon cruisers. The sky lit with explosions as Earth's fighters fired in controlled bursts. Slicing through enemy engines and hulls on the Drogon command ship, panic spread. Shields down to 40%. "Human fighters inbound," Karath shouted. "Get us out of orbit. We need distance." Too late, Alina's fighter dove low. They spun through space and crashed into the command ship's engines with pinpoint precision. The Drogon flagship exploded. Back on the ground, Thraxian civilians gathered in what was left of their city squares. Human soldiers moved among them, helping rebuild shelters, treating wounds, and providing clean water. Children surrounded Ramirez, the Earth Marine who had been in the first drop pod. A small girl tugged at her sleeve. "Did you come from the stars?" the girl asked. Ramirez smiled. "Yeah, but we came because someone needed us." An old Thraxian elder approached. His body was weak, but his eyes glowed with hope. "We have waited a long time," he said. "The stars were silent for too many years. But now they speak with your voice." Ramirez nodded. "We don't usually speak loud, but when we do, we make sure they hear us." Commander Rachel received an incoming transmission from Earth HQ status, asked Admiral Park's face on the screen. "Drogon fleet is broken," Rachel replied. "Their axis is safe for now. Relief efforts are underway." Park's eyes were serious. "The Council is watching. They're not happy we interfered." Rachel leaned forward. "Let them watch. Someone had to do something. We didn't come to impress politicians. We came because we couldn't ignore a scream for help." Park sighed. "You'll have to answer for this eventually." Rachel didn't flinch. "I will, but I'll do it, standing next to people who are still alive because we answered." The screen-faded dot in the outer rings of the galaxy. News of Earth's return spread like fire. Alien governments held emergency meetings. Some feared what Earth's fleet meant. Others wondered if they should ally or hide. But one thing was certain: humanity was no longer asleep. In one secret Drogon base, hidden deep in asteroid field K99, a cloaked figure stood before a screen. Showing Earth's ships, they respond with force. The figure whispered, "They don't wait. They don't ask." Another voice answered, "What now? We change the game. We take the war to them." Back on Theraxis, Rachel visited the city's main shelter. Children ran through the halls. Human engineers were installing power cells and medical bots. The once broken halls now buzzed with new life. Karuin, the Thraxian general, met her at the entrance. "You didn't have to come," he said. Rachel looked around. "Yes, we did. You lost ships, lives. Why take this risk for strangers?" Rachel glanced up at the repaired ceiling where sunlight peeked through. "When I was young, my planet was almost wiped out by raiders. No one came to help us. We rebuilt alone. I promised myself if I ever had the power, I'd never let that happen again." Karuin lowered his head. "Then your arrival was more than rescue. It was a promise kept. In Earth fleets orbiting, command ship, warnings blared. Unidentified warp signatures inbound," shouted a sensor officer. Rachel spun. Where Drogon reinforcement fleet, over 20 ships heavy class. The war wasn't over. Not yet. Rachel tapped her command. "Console. Sound red alert. All stations to combat readiness." Alina's fighter team was already suiting up again. "Didn't think they'd come back so soon," Ridge muttered. "They're angry," Alina said, sliding her helmet on. "Good. Let's show them what human anger looks like." The stars lit with fire again as the Drogon reinforcements arrived, but this time Earth fleet was ready. They had studied the enemy. They had seen their fear, and they had learned one important lesson. The Drogons knew how to conquer, but Earth knew how to end wars. In the first wave, Earth ships struck from below, using the planet's gravity as a shield. The Titan's wrath launched kinetic rods, invisible to most sensors. Smashing into the enemy ships with brutal force, Drogons tried to counterattack. But human jammers scrambled their targeting systems. Railguns fired from hidden asteroid bases. Slicing into the reinforcements, Rachel stood calmly on the bridge. "Crush them," she said, and they did. In less than 20 minutes, the Drogon reinforcements were in full retreat. Their remaining ships limped into warp. Burning from all sides, Commander Rachel watched them vanish. "Message to all ships," she ordered. "Stand down. Begin post-battle scans. Prioritize wounded enemy or not." Her crew nodded. Even after fire, humanity showed its heart. Later, as the sun rose over Thraxis, Rachel stood atop a half-destroyed building, watching human flags fly beside Thraxian ones. Karuin joined her. "The galaxy will remember this." Rachel replied, "Good, let them." "Do you think the Drogons will stop?" She turned toward him. "No, but now they know when you push too far, someone will push back." He was quiet for a moment, and Earth will be that someone. She smiled slightly. Every time. His smoke over Theraxis had cleared. The cities, once silent with fear, now echoed with new sounds, hammering laughter, even music. Human and Thraxian workers rebuilt shattered homes side by side. What had been a graveyard a week ago was now slowly becoming a place of life again. But Earthfleet didn't lower its guard in orbit. The sky shimmered with warships, standing ready. Commander Rachel Stone wasn't taking chances. The Drogon Empire had already tried twice. She knew the third time might not be so easy in her command center. She studied a new report. "Confirmed," said the AI. "Drogon communications intercepted. They're planning a full-scale retaliation. All sectors on high alert." Rachel narrowed her eyes. "Then we hit them first." Down on Theraxis, General Karuin met Rachel in a temporary command tent set up near the mountain pass. "You want to strike the Drogons in their own territory?" he asked, surprised. Rachel nodded. "Yes, they need to understand one thing. Earth doesn't just protect. We respond, but won't this provoke them even more?" "They're already provoked. This isn't about revenge, Karuin. It's about showing the galaxy that humanity will not let cruelty go unpunished." Karuin slowly nodded. "Then, I want to help." Rachel raised an eyebrow. "You want to fight?" "We were peaceful for too long," Karuin said. "That mistake almost destroyed us. We may not be warriors, but we can stand beside those who are." Earthfleet began preparing for war. Their target, a massive Drogon shipyard orbiting the volcanic moon of Brel 4. It was where Drogon warships were built, refueled, and launched. Destroying it wouldn't just be a victory, it would shake the Drogon Empire to its core. In the fleet's war room, tactical officers reviewed maps, flight routes, and battle plans. Rachel stood at the center of it all. "Our goal is simple," she said. "Cut off their supply chain, disable their ability to rebuild, strike hard, fast, and without warning." Captain York from the Solaris grinned. "Sounds like a proper message." Alina, the lead fighter pilot, entered with her helmet under her arm. "Just tell me where to fly." Rachel smiled. "You'll be leading the first wave." The journey to Brel 4 took only 4 hours by warp jump. Earthfleet emerged from the blackness like a blade through the stars, silent, sharp, and unstoppable. The Drogon shipyard stood large and proud in the dark sky, orbiting a glowing red moon. Dozens of half-built warships floated nearby. Hundreds of fighters were docked. The enemy never expected anyone to come here until now. Rachel gave the command. "Begin Operation Phoenix Strike." Alina's fighter wing launched first. She led her team straight through the outer defense line, weaving between plasma blasts and automated cannons. Her missiles found their targets fast. Fuel depots exploded in fireballs, lighting up the sky like a second sun. Behind her, cruisers from the Titan's Wrath unleashed railgun barrages. The Drogon defenses scrambled to respond, but they were too slow, too confused. Earthfleet's attack was a masterpiece of precision. In the middle of the chaos, Rachel's voice echoed across all frequencies to the Drogon Empire. You ignored the cries of the innocent. You brought fire to peaceful worlds. Today, we bring the fire to you. Inside the shipyard, panic spread among Drogon command. The humans are here. They found us how? Redirect all power to shields. But nothing helped. Earth's weapons tore through armor like paper. The Revenant launched a gravity bomb that collapsed one side of the facility in on itself. Human fighters destroyed. Drone bays, engines, and control towers. Karun in a borrowed human gunship, fired alongside Earth Marines. His hands trembled, but his heart was steady. For every life we lost, he whispered, we take this moment back. Back on the Valor, Rachel monitored the battle with silent focus. She didn't cheer or gloat. She knew this wasn't victory, it was a warning, a line in the sand. Status, she asked. Shipyard collapsing, the AI replied. All enemy. Vessels either destroyed or fleeing. No civilian signatures detected. 0 human casualties. Rachel allowed herself a single breath of relief. Mission complete. As Earthfleet left the burning wreckage of Brelfor behind, the galaxy trembled. Broadcasts of the assault spread everywhere. Alien governments watched with wide eyes, some in fear, some in awe. The Drogon Empire had lost a core asset in a single night. They had been untouchable for decades, and now Earth had touched them. Deep inside Drogon space, the High Council screamed and argued. Some demanded all-out war with humanity. Others warned that such a war would mean extinction. But one truth was clear. Arth had sent a message, and the galaxy had heard it, loud and clear. Rachel returned to Therixis to cheers and celebration, but her expression was calm, almost quiet. The people clapped. Children waved. A Theraxian choir sang old songs of survival. Karun stood beside her, dressed now not as a general, but as a leader of a reborn people. We survived because of you, he said. Rachel shook her head. You survived because you refused to give up. We just gave you a fighting chance. He extended a hand, and we will never forget it. She took it firmly. Neither will Earth. Later that night, Rachel stood alone under the stars. She looked up at the sky, the same sky that had once been silent while Therixis burned. Now it was filled with satellites, patrol ships, and watchful eyes. She knew the galaxy had changed. Earth could never go back to being a quiet observer. They had stepped into the light again, and there was no turning back. Isaac Voss approached her, holding 2 mugs of coffee. You did it, he said. No, she replied, taking one. We started it. He raised his mug to the beginning, then she clinked hers gently against his. To every voice we will never ignore again, and far, far away. In the blackness between stars, another signal was heard. A different voice, a different scream, and Earth was already listening.